Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my first Q&A type video for this week, leading up to the second last episode of The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 15, which is called Try. Okay, and spoiler warning, if you guys have not seen episode 14 yet, you definitely want to watch it before you watch this video. That said, if you guys missed my review or my overall predictions, this is not necessarily a predictions video or my review, so go ahead and I'll put both the links to those in the description as well as annotations right here. Go ahead and click those and they'll open in a new tab and you'll be able to watch both of those. You can pause this one if you want and watch whichever one you want first. I would suggest you definitely watch the review to hear my thoughts on episode 14 and also the predictions if you want to know what I think is going to happen overall in the episode to get an overall feel. So the first question in this one, or probably what will be the most common question this week, is who do I think in particular are going to be in the 4 graves? Now in the promo, which you can find on YouTube as well too, if you type in The Walking Dead Season 5 Episode 15 promo, you can clearly see there's 4 graves. At first I thought there was 2, then 3, and then when I watched it again I was like, okay, there's 4. You can see Rick, he's talking with Deanna. You can see the 2 in the center are easy to see, and then you can see the dugout part of the other one, which is in the back. So you can clearly see 4. Possibly more. It doesn't seem like it. I'm pretty sure it's just 4. So what does that mean for us in terms of the story, and when does that scene take place? Is that closer to the beginning of the episode, or is that closer to the end of the episode? Is Nicholas going to survive? What about Tara? We'll have to wait and see. Nicholas, though, I don't. To me, it seemed like Glenn just knocked him out. Granted, you can be killed if you are knocked out, especially on pavement like that. If you get knocked unconscious, you fall down, you brain damage, you can hit your head, or like in that case when Glenn was punching down it and the force was would be so ground and pound. The force is so great, you could actually kill somebody from hitting their head against the cement. Right, brain damage. It does happen. Unfortunately, there's lots of cases where simple street fights will actually result in a death from a person hitting their head against the pavement. So be careful, guys, if you're going to fight. Do it on the grass. Is always best case scenario. Not to say you couldn't kill somebody doing that too, but just be careful. So I would tend to think that Nicholas is probably going to make it. I don't think one of the graves is for him. With regards to Tara, one of the common questions here, and I've kind of talked about this prior, I do think she's going to survive. Wine Dog says, do you think Tara's dead? No, I don't think so. I think if she was going to be killed off, we would have probably seen it already. I think she's going to make it through it, and she's going to be one of those kind of unlikely survivors that is going to probably survive for at least a little while. In the series, she'll kind of be one of those characters that's kind of there from that governor arc thing that they want to keep in. I was surprised to see they didn't want to do the same thing with Noah, because he was also from the Grady Memorial, which he was the only character from there that had come into the story kind of replacing Beth, so to speak, or him surviving in place of her. And it's unfortunate that he actually was killed off like that in such a capacity. Brutal death, man. But I'll do a character spotlight on Noah coming up this week. That said, he wasn't a character that was really around for that long. But we'll do one talking about it. We'll focus on that in that video. So of course, one of the graves could be for him. They could be out of the 4. They could be kind of doing a ceremonial, type thing, even though they don't actually have, the body of Noah and Aidan, because of course they were destroyed to such a point that I don't even think. Well, definitely. I would say Noah for sure is probably not a zombie. Aidan, I don't think would be a zombie either. It seems to me certain characters that are killed by zombies, it seems like they're devoured to such a degree that they would not even be able to be zombies themselves, or they would wind up in a state like Bicycle Girl, who just from season 1, she's like one of the first zombies we see in the series. Rick puts her down, and she can't even move. She's just like lying there. She's like reaching at him, and she can't even move. She's so, her body was so just decomposed after being totally ripped to shreds by all the other zombies attacking her and killing her. So we could see 2 of them be buried, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, so that fills 2. What about the other 2? Some people are thinking Gabriel, and I'd say I don't think so, because somebody asked me a question here as well too. Do you think since Maggie heard Gabriel, they'll kill Gabriel? No, I don't think that they will do that. I think they'll kind of just ignore it and kind of continue on with what they're doing anyway. Because Gabriel, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess people will respect him because he is a pastor and everything. But still, I tend to think they're going to just kind of not worry about it. You know, they did save his life, so you know, I mean, if Deanna or anybody says anything, they could always just say, well, you know, we saved him, we saved his life, we had to kill some people on the way. Yep, that's just how it is. You know, that's how it is out there. That's it. So I don't think one of the graves is for him. I would say most likely probably going to be for Peter, and maybe the other one would be for either like a random, you know, Alexandria character, or possibly Reg, because you do see in the promo he's kind of yelling for Deanna, so it seems like something's up, something's going on, you know, and it seems to me like it doesn't look like Rick in it is too upset himself. You know, if it was going to be a bigger character like Carol or somebody like that, you tend to think Rick would be really upset, you know, over what's happening, just like with what happened with Beth. So I don't tend to think it's anybody like that. I think it's going to be like an Alexandria character that, to be honest, a lot of them are new anyway. Do we really care if Reg gets killed off? Not too much. So in terms of, you know, those four, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's probably nothing too major, probably just the two characters, Aidan and Noah, and then probably Peter, because I do think Rick is going to kill him in this episode, unless they save it for the finale, which is, you know, a try, and then possibly Conquer if they save it for them, and then a random Alexandria character like Reg, which would also explain why Deanna would be so upset if Reg was killed off as part of the process or something happened. So, unless they might do that in the finale, I guess we'll see. So that's my best guess for you guys for the grave. So wanted to, you know, focus on that a little bit more. We touched on it briefly, but wanted to get into that more after the predictions. So let me know what you guys think, what your predictions are for those four graves, and you know, and who they could belong to. And following that, we'll get into some Q&A questions. So the first one is actually more of a comment. This one's from Mike and Annie Bear. And Mike says, Mike McMahon, he's subscribed to the channel for a long time. He says, hi, Trev. I was watching your channel like I always do, and a girl approached me and asked, what are you watching? I replied, the best YouTube channel for The Walking Dead. Almost a year and a half, we are still together. I think your channel actually brought us together. Thanks, bud. Also, her birthday is next week. Can you give her a shout out? Well, of course, I'll give her a shout out. Yeah, so with this, I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop reviewing The Walking Dead. I'm going to stop talking about The Walking Dead. Going forward, I'm going to follow my true passion, and that is a YouTube matchmaking service. That's right. I'm going to embark on a new journey. I'm going to I can't even get through it all. No, but I think that's really funny that he's watching it and some girl. So hey, man, I'm you know, that's great. You know, I'm happy for you. I'm glad I could be an in for you. And yeah, you know. So guys, if you're having trouble with the ladies, give Trev a chance. You know, for relationship advice. No, okay, I'll move on. Next one is from Storm Shadow. Asked some great questions. He always asks great questions. That's why I feature a lot of his questions, because they're so good. He says, hey, Trev, I believe that Aaron has a crush on Daryl. Any thoughts on that? This, again, you know, we talked about the possibility of Daryl being gay. I guess it makes sense. It doesn't help the fact that he's hanging around with gay guys now. You know, I guess the possibility, I thought Kirkman said he's not, and they squashed that and they said he's not gay. But, you know, I mean, there's my thoughts on that, Storm Shadow. I don't think he's gay, but you're right. It does kind of make things a little bit more suspicious. It'd be a nice twist if Daryl ended up being gay and him and Aaron hooked up or something. That'd be fun. That'd be weird. That'd be really weird. You know, it's too risky, to be honest with you. I think it'd just be a lot of people all the girls would be upset and stuff. Next one's from Maz Pro, and he says, hey, Trev, do you think we'll see the telephone come back? As you probably remember in the comics, Rick talked to Lori through a telephone for almost 30 to 40 issues. Yeah. Even made a return in All Out War. But in the TV series, it was only there for one episode, and they had Rick see Lori instead of hearing her. Well, that's a good point. Do you think we'll see Lori come back? I think that or the telephone come back. I think it makes sense that they would do that. You know, what if, as Rick is beginning to have a relationship with this Jesse character, or with whatever happens with Pete, you know, if, you know, whatever way that goes, if we have some kind of telephone kind of reference as a part of that. That said, the TV series telephone thing with Rick kind of losing it after losing, basically the telephone represents him kind of losing his mind after losing Lori, right? So now that Lori's been brought up in his mind, Pete's mentioned her, and it's kind of brought up in the series again. I could see that. I don't think we will. I think they're going to drop it. I think they feel like in the TV series they might have gone a little bit overboard in season 3 with Rick losing his mind type deal. I didn't feel that way. I felt like he had, post-traumatic stress, and it made sense how he was behaving based on what had just happened to him. But I guess a lot of people didn't really like the whole Rick losing his mind thing. So at this point in time, it seems like they're trying to stay away from it. I would like to see it again, but I would say most likely we probably won't see it. That's just my thoughts from what I've heard in interviews and stuff. It seems like they and what common opinion is that people didn't really they like seeing Rick as strong leader Rick. They don't really like seeing him as farmer, kind of, not wanting responsibility type Rick. So there it is. Next one is from AS Yak, and he says, hey, just to reference The Walking Dead. I've always thought that The Walking Dead missed a huge opportunity in around season 2 to 3. It would have been amazing if maybe at the prison Rick had come across people he had put in there, i.e. arrested. Maybe say an axe murderer, yet how awesome would something like that have been in a zombie apocalypse? That's a good point. He says they miss an opportunity. So yeah, I mean, well, they can't go down every route that would come up. But that is a good point that could have been a cool opportunity if one of the prisoners Rick had actually put there and maybe forgot about them or something, and one of them knew him. That said, they didn't really need it anyway. It would have been a great motivator to start like Andrew or something. They could have done that with him. But that said, they didn't really need that anyway because of the way it all played out anyway, was that they felt like it was theirs. So there was the confrontation and kind of this versus thing because of that. So this one also is from Storm Shadow. He says, hey, Trev, I was wanting your thoughts on if Father Gabriel will die from a walker, a member of the group, or a member of Alexandria. I don't see him surviving much longer. Thanks, and keep it up. So I'll wrap up with this one because I do want to save questions for the rest of the week since it's only Monday at this point. So quickly we'll go over this one. So Gabriel. So I'll just give my thoughts on Gabriel right now. I don't like Gabriel. I don't. I didn't like him in the comic books. I thought he was full of BS the first time we met him. He ended up not being so. But with the TV series, he's been basically the same verbatim. And, I personally, now that he's kind of ratting out the group to Deanna and he's just causing drama, I really don't like him, because they saved him. And they didn't have to, but they did, and they brought him along, and he's only been a burden. He's never helped, in my opinion. I mean, how many walkers has he killed? How much, has he ever really benefited the group very much? Not that much. I mean, maybe, giving his sermon at the death of Tyrese and maybe Beth, we don't know. But that said, to me, it seems like he hasn't contributed enough to what he's worth, to feed, for them to keep feeding him and everything. So those are kind of my thoughts on Gabriel. Will he be killed? I think he'll probably be killed off pretty soon. In the comic book series, he was like there, but he never really, he kind of faded. He faded, but he never really seemed like he was really that useful. It's like people were saying, was he even there? In some of the previous episodes, because he didn't even show up, right? He finally got a chance now. So yeah, I don't like Gabriel. I don't think we're really supposed to, and I think he's probably going to be a zombie that kills him. I don't think it'll be a member of Rick's group or Alexandria. I think it'll be a zombie. Yeah, I think so. Unless they go a different route from the comic books and they have Rick, because from the promo, it does sound like Rick is a little bit more aggressive with regards to the Alexandria group, talking about taking it from them, talking about, just in the promos and stuff, of how if they can't make it, and just the overall general idea or the sense I get from Rick is that he really doesn't care much for these people of Alexandria, and he's a little bit colder than the comic book series version was to these people, where he just doesn't care if they live or die, and if someone is in his way or if push comes to shove, they'll kill them all if they have to and take the place. Which would be weird, but if they have to do it, it seems to me like Rick is prepared to do that if he has to. So yeah, crazy stuff. It'd just be a massacre if that's how things went. But yeah, good stuff. So I'll keep it there for today because I did do the predictions, did do the reviews. So you guys can watch those as well too. That's enough for this one. Those are my thoughts on the Four Graves and some random different Q&A questions leading up after watching episode 14. Can't wait for episode 15 and then episode 16, and then unfortunately we're into the break again. Man, I love The Walking Dead so much. I get I get a little sad after a season ends because I enjoy it so much as it goes through. But that said, the finale is always a huge bang, so I always get so excited. Love the finale. For at least 2 or 3 weeks I'm buzzing after the finale, and then I get used to the idea of, oh yeah, we gotta wait till October for Dead. Sucks, man. But let me know what you guys thought about all these different questions. If you want to answer them yourselves in the comments below, or you want to ask me other questions, private message them to me. Going to need some for this week because I'd like to do videos every day as long as I have enough to talk about. Yeah, so that's it for this one, guys. I'll see you for probably another one tomorrow. Better Call Saul review, of course, tomorrow. And check out the review predictions if you missed it. Please thumb up the video if you want to. Please share it and favorite if you wouldn't mind. And I'll see you guys soon, probably tomorrow. As always, it's Trev. Saying peace.